we'll now discuss about shear stress. I think, have you heard about this word, shear stress? Now,
Yes.
we have seen, till now we have considered a bar, right? Applying the load, and you will find changes in the dimension. Correct. This load is normal to the cross section. Correct. This is cross section, and the loads were normal. But in shear stress, what will happen? The loads will act tangentially along this direction, tangential to the surface or parallel to the surface, not normal. This is normal direction or normal force, and this is tangential. That means we are just pressing the surface along the direction. So in that case, the shear forces will develop, and shear stresses will develop. Correct. So we'll discuss about this. Okay. Now, as I have told that the shear stress, it will develop if the load is acting tangential direction. Okay. So now consider this example. I will show another view of this. This is you came across this. I think the trolley arrangement or any mechanical coupling. See this bar A. This is called as clamp bar or a rectangular bar, and this B, this is bolt, and another is here you can see like I type part which is used to connect this bar with the help of this bolt. And suppose the load is acting along this direction like this way, P. Correct. So what will happen in this case? The load will act on the bolt as well as on the bar also. See, I will show you this diagram. If I separate, if I draw the free body diagram for bolt, from bolt what will happen? See this part, okay, this part, see, along this part, because at this part contact is there, correct? And again at this part contact is there for bolt, and at this part the contact is from bar A. Okay. So this free body diagram is shown here. Now just imagine if I apply the load like this way, I will have the free body diagram like this. So this 1 and 3, this load is due to this part C. Okay. So the pulling the part C in this direction, this part and this part will apply load like this way, but and at the same time this middle part bar A is pulling in this direction. So and this bar will apply the load at this part like in this direction. Okay. Now if I take this part cut section here, what will happen? On this cut section I will have this load which is applied by this bar A, and at this side I will have these two forces, and this is called as shear force. Okay. Now what I'm doing here, I am taking cut section of this small part. If I take the cut section, so because of this load, this and this load, I will have forces here. Okay. And that force is acting tangentially at this surface, this and this surface. If the load is acting tangentially, that load is called as shear force. Okay. And in this diagram, I have shown cross section of bolt. Okay. Top view, if you see the top view of the bolt, it will look like circular manner, circular shape. And on that bolt, if I cut the bolt, what I will see here, this stresses because of this shear force or because of the loading condition, I will see here the shear stresses. So basic intuition to show this example and free body diagram is that shear stresses, those will develop if the loading condition is parallel to the surface. Now here, this force, because of the load P, this shear force will act in the bolt parallel to this MN and PQ surface, and accordingly you will have shear stresses. Right. Now I will show you some another example again. See here, there is bolt which is clamped the another part with to the horizontal I section, and if here it is a diagram, free body diagram of bolt, and there are two loads acting equal and opposite direction. If I take the cut section, what will happen? If I am taking cut section here, that means for equilibrium I should show the shear force here, which is acting parallel to the MN surface, because in order to balance this part or to be in equilibrium this part, there should be equal and opposite force acting on this surface. Okay, so this is called as shear force again. Now here I have shown a practical example. This is taken a real life picture. I think you have seen this kind of fracture, correct? So yeah, this is a bolt. If the bolt is acting like the load like this way, after some use of or after some time passes, you will see the condition, wearing and tearing condition of the bolt. See here, practically you are seeing the bolt is cutting like this way because of this load, and here the bolt was in collar. Here it was resting in the collar, and again here that was inserted in some part. And because of this loading condition, you are seeing the jumps here, which are initiation of the shearing action here. Because of the shearing action, the bolt will fail. Okay. This kind of real life examples you can see anywhere. Okay. Now, see here, this calculation of shear stress, we have calculated the sigma, that is called as stress, and this stress is called as normal stress because this sigma is generated because of normal force, that means perpendicular force acting to the surface. That's why this is called as normal stress, because this is generated due to normal force, and this we have mentioned like this way, P upon A, where P is applied load, correct, applied load, where A is area, cross-sectional area. Now here the definition is same. Okay, now here shear stress is indicated by a Greek letter tau. This is called as tau. And again the definition is same. The load here, it is shear force, correct? Shear force. Here it was applied load, that was normal in the direction, correct? And here area. Which area we have to consider here? This area, that is shear area. Okay, this area. So the definition of shear stress is, again I will mention directly, that is shear force divided by area. Okay, now again the unit of shear stress is again Newton per meter square, that is SI unit of shear stress. Okay, that is again it is called as Pascal, because area is meter square and force is in Newton. Now we will discuss about shear stress and strain now. Suppose consider I will take the example from, let's see, suppose this is a bolt and this is acting equal and opposite direction load like this way. Okay. Now if I take a small element of this bar, square element of this bar, which I have shown here. Okay. Now the shear stresses are, now this is a three-dimensional element, cube element having dimensions in x, y, and z direction. Okay. Now how to represent this shear stress on the element? Now see here, instead of this three-dimensional, I will draw 2D like this way, and this shear stress we can mention like this way. Okay. See here, the surfaces which are perpendicular to each other, for example this surface and this surface, the shear stress acting on these two surfaces will be equal and pointing towards each other. Okay. So this is a representation of shear stress. So from this representation, what we got, we'll discuss those points. I will erase this part now. Just this point, just remember these points. The first is the shear stress on opposite, which are opposite and parallel faces. Okay. This face and this face. Here, this face and this face, both are opposite. One that is this face and this face, both are opposite and parallel. The shear stresses acting on these two faces, those are equal and opposite in the direction. On this surface, the shear stress is acting on upward direction. If it is acting upward direction, another force should be in the downward direction. Okay. Another, for adjacent surface which are perpendicular to each other like this way, the shear stresses are again equal and pointing towards each other. Okay. So these are two interpretations by regarding shear stress. Now we'll discuss about shear strain. See, have you heard about shear strain before? Have you heard about strain?
Shear strain.
Okay. Now we'll discuss here. Consider element, cube element. Okay. And because of this shear stresses, the deformation will take like this way, correct? If the deformation is taking like this way, because of the deformation, this parallel face, it will deform like this way by an angle gamma by 2. This parallel face, it will deform by an angle gamma by 2. Half and half. And this inner angle, that will be pi by 2 minus gamma. See, the shear strains, those, that is nothing but this angle, addition of this and this angle, correct? So that is called a shear strain. Basically, the shear strain, that is angle, nothing but shear strain is nothing but angle, and it is measure of the distortion or change in the shape. These words, distortion or change in the shape of the element, and that is called a shear strain. Since this shear strain is an angle, the SI unit of shear strain, that will be basically radian, or we can measure, convert that in degree also. Okay. So unit of shear strain is radian. Now we'll discuss we have discussed Hooke's law in normal force, in normal load, correct? In shear case also, the Hooke's law obeys. Okay. So that Hooke's law, what we have discussed in normal or in tension case, the shear that normal stress is equal to E into strain, where this E is Young's modulus, this is shear normal strain, this is Young's modulus, and this is stress. Like the similar way, in shear stress, this sigma is replaced with shear stress tau. This constant is replaced with G. I will tell what G means. And this normal strain is replaced with shear strain, and that is gamma. Correct? So this is called Hooke's law in shear. Okay, and where this G is called as modulus of rigidity. Modulus of rigidity, or it is simply called as shear modulus, and the SI unit of this again Newton per meter square. Now you will see these are here so many equations, but what are these equations? I will discuss briefly in 2 minutes. See here, what will happen if the loads are acting on every surface? On this surface, load is acting sigma x, on this surface sigma y, and on this surface sigma z, and equal and opposite to the each and every surface. In that case, Hooke's law, how Hooke's law will change? Correct? Because here the loading case is triaxial. That means in every direction x, y, z, the loads are acting. If in every direction load is acting, that means what? In every direction there should be stresses and strains. The stress, there is no need of derivation of these formulas. Okay, so in your exam the derivation of these formulas will not be there, but you have to apply these formulas to solve the problems. So you have to remember these things. Okay. So if the case is in 3-dimensional, the sigma x is given like this way. You have to simply remember this formula by any means. Sigma y is given like this way, sigma z. And similarly, the strains in x, y, and z, those are given in this manner. Now, if the stress, if the element is acting in all the directions, that means there will be changes of the surface or changes of the dimension in all the direction. Correct? If the loads are acting in 3 directions, there will be changes in all the direction, and those changes are represented in terms of strains, epsilon x, epsilon y, and epsilon z. If you add all these 3 strains, we will get change of volume. Correct? If we are having changes in 3 dimension, in 3 direction, that means there will be change in the volume, right? And if we simply add these changes, you will have the change in volume, that is volumetric strain. This small e, this is called as volumetric strain. Volumetric strain. And this volumetric strain is represented in terms of stress like this way. In terms of stress.